Everybody, welcome. Welcome to the Wake Up Late with Dougie Show. I'm Dougie Almeida, back from my trek through the Carolinas. So feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm so glad that I was able to be joined by my co-host, Jen Hellman, today.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back.
And special guest here in the studio, comedian. And boy, I think we got a lot in store for us today. Mr. Max Dolcelli.
Hello, Dougie. Hello, Jen. Hello. Bugs. What's up, Doc?
We have met. You have actually. Last time I thought I saw you was at Tavolino's. Back.
I remember that night. And who showed up to come see me that night?
Vic DiBenedetto.
Vic, yeah, Vic came by. He didn't want to go on stage though.
Nah, we're trying to get him up there. And
freaking Mama Luke.
And a good friend of the show, Lenny Travis, was so happy he was there, and they went back. They've known each other a long time.
That
great.
was very. I'm surprised by that. That's very nice that Vic did not want to take up stage time, because I know some people who would have showed up and then they would have done 30 minutes.
Did you ever have that happen, Max? You ever been in a show and somebody says, "No, I don't want to do this." Okay, I'll do a few minutes, and then.
Yeah. What do you mean? I don't understand. You mean like somebody shows up?
Okay, so for example, there's a comedian that I know, and the only time I've ever seen this comedian is when they have dropped in on another show. So there's a.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You have a headliner, you have this and that, and then somebody special stops in and they say, "Oh, come on, come up, do some time." And instead of just doing a gracious, 5 minutes, they do 30 to 45.
Oh yeah. You know how many times when I first started in the business, I started at Pips in Brooklyn and Catch a Rising Star, the comic strip in Manhattan in New York City. And every night we would have a schedule at Catch, but every night guys like Robin Williams, David Brenner, Pryor, guys, major heavy hitters would show up and they'd all go on stage. Yeah. They would all go on stage. And you know what it's like to follow Robin Williams?
I would leave. I would be like, I'm not going to do this to myself.
I've done it several times. It's very, very difficult because people are leaving. They want to get his autograph.
Yeah, that's gotta be rough. We've actually talked about it on the show a little bit last few weeks. Where what do you do at that point? How do you differentiate? How do you separate that? How do you get people, to get back to you?
You make fun of the fact that this is really gonna suck.
Well, I was on stage when Osama bin Laden was shot. I was in the middle of a show, and all of that's almost similar in that to be on stage, then everybody's looking to the right. I have no idea what's going on, and I had to compete with Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, and for you, to be honest, you were in Baghdad that night at the Improv at Baghdad, and that was really.
I wasn't telling jokes; I was stripping. But
yeah, she was on a pole. She wasn't doing jokes.
I went up one time after purposely because I said there's no way I can. So I watched this. Well, we always watch a set, but when I went up, I did everything he did.
Just. There you go. Just mimic them.
Every bit he did.
That's amazing, dude.
I'm sure you did just fine, Max.
But yeah. What do you think? We've all been in that situation. Let's say you just go to the show. Like, if I figured, especially in Florida, if I don't want to be asked to go on stage and I go to a show, I got to go there in flip flops, a pair of gym shorts, and a tank top. You know what I mean? Because my ass isn't going to go up on stage with that. So that's the only way I can keep myself from going up, because you want, you don't want to ask, you don't want to, you love to go up, especially if it's a hot show, but I always think there's two ways of thinking that. Like, you want to do, hey, I'm a comic. And there's the other aspect of everybody else in the show going, oh, fuck.
Why would you want to go to a comedy club anyway?
Yeah.
Well, to support because I know at my level, I'd like to go and try to support, although not so much anymore. I would say 5 years ago it was I stopped supporting.
You in Florida, Jennifer? Are you in Florida?
I am.
Okay, you're from Maryland or something, right?
I am. I'm from Baltimore originally.
Yeah, Baltimore. I used to work there.
Baltimore.
There used to be a club called the Tracy's or something like that.
Oh, okay. Because there's Magooby's Joke House in Towson.
Oh God,
which is right outside of Baltimore. And now they have the comedy. I want to call it the
I love
comedy.
Baltimore.
I do
love
too.
Baltimore.
We're leaving on Thursday. I'm heading up there.
The Alka-Seltzer building is still there.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
well, it was originally an industrial harbor. So you had like Domino Sugar Company, Colt 45. Remember, do people still drink Colt 45?
Not in my house. I remember when I was in high school, we started drinking Mickey malts, the big mouths, because someone said they're stronger. So it says, forget the beer, man. You got to drink these malts. You know?
Are they stronger?
yeah.
Malted? Yeah, I remember thinking that malted liquor.
Well, this is a true story. The first time I hung out with people that were drinking it, we were in a big old Suburban. This is in the 80s when I'm in 10th, like 83, 1982. And somebody's driving a big ass Suburban where the Coral Springs Mall is today down Atlantic Boulevard. And they flipped that Suburban.
Oh, that's not funny. Why
Was
am I
that
laughing?
because of the
Well,
malt
the,
liquor?
the best part about that was I decided I didn't want to get in the car with all those people drinking all those Mickey malts, big
Yeah.
malts. And I was in the car behind it. But
But
well,
things were different back then. When I was going to school in high school, the teenage boys would put 6-packs on their dashboard to show everybody that they were drinking.
Right.
And but they got away with it back then.
yeah,
You know?
That
it's
was
true
the-
though, right?
Yeah, but not anymore. You can't do that no more.
Not at all.
Because back then it was just teens being teens. Now they do that, but then the next thing they do is they go and shoot up.
Well,
Am I
well,
frozen? Dougie froze.
no, you're
okay.
good.
When we start on this subject, we were talking about going into a comedy club and then asking you to go on stage. I've done it. I don't really like doing it, but I've done it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the classy move to deny getting on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, but, and if you are, and if I, the times I have done it, I really, if they say do 5, I do 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Just for that purpose. I want to go up there and I think that way, I think every comedy that's going up there after is going to say, at least he just did a few minutes, I work on a couple things and boom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, who am I? So, we're talking about Florida. Before the show or during the show, you mentioned you're not a big fan of Florida, or Max.
Well, I used to work there a lot, and I liked it back in the 80s, in the 70s. I worked at the comic strip. I used to work at the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale on Sunrise, probably 5 times a year. I'd go down there 5 or 6 times a year. And I loved it. It was just so much fun. And spring break was just so much
It was the best. And you had the candy store down there. You had,
all the guys from the spring break guys would always go to the can I say titty bars? They'd go to titty bars. And the spring break girls would come to the comedy club.
But they were topless, right? The girls, that's when I would think of spring break in the 80s. I actually do think of like all the girls topless, and you had like real boobs. Remember, they were like real boobs, and they'd be like, yeah.
And the shows were every night were packed. It was fun. It was just so much fun all the time. Lately, if I go down to Florida to work, first of all, the traffic in Florida is horrendous.
Yeah,
I mean, really bad. In New York, and New Jersey, we have bumper to bumper traffic. But people don't go 80 miles per hour when it's bumper to bumper.
Well, we have places to be. We have doctor's appointments
bumper to bumper,
to get
but people are flying. It's crazy. I don't know. It's not the same feel as it was back then.
Well, here's the thing. I've lived here. We moved from New York when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I've lived in South Florida in the particular area more or less since I was 5. So that's a long time. And my wife is tired of it, and so I've made we made the decision to move to North Carolina or South Carolina. So we actually scouted out
love, things we do for love.
well, wait, what do you really hate about Florida?
First of all, the heat. First of all, the heat.
Okay, the oppressive heat.
Second of all,
humidity.
Thank you.
That goes with the heat, right?
I don't like going out to get my mail and sweating my balls off and have to change my shirt because I went to get the paper. Second, the hurricanes. I mean, look at these people in the Gulf Coast about to get hit again. Could you imagine the year these folks are having? You know, this is a year. Okay, everybody in the world is going through the pandemic. Okay, and you know, everybody in California is dealing with the fires. I mean, come on. And then these people in the Gulf Coast are getting hit for third time. You know,
is that Zeta? Zeta is the third one, or is that the fourth one?
Hercules, fucking Socrates. I don't know what it is at this point.
The
whole
and
fucking
Laura,
Greek.
and Laura.
This is stupid. So I could just imagine that, you know, I'm going to leave this place and there's going to be a super five that's just going to come and crush this state. So those are the two main things. The second thing is like Max talked about the people. It's a big mix. Everybody's in a rush. Everybody's important. No, you know, the time I went when we were in North Carolina, you could see the difference. You know, they're just the people are just, and it's nice too because the leaves are changing.
It is. It really. Everybody's always in. People are retired there, and they're in a freaking hurry all the time. All the time. Last time I was down there, I was in Tampa. Somebody tried to pass me in a car wash. It was just.
Even the people at the bus stop are like jockeying to see who can get on the bus first.
Yeah, exactly. This is a non-passing drying lane. Dude, that's funny. You're right though. Everybody's in a fucking hurry. You know, I had somebody getting honking at me because they were like trying to come up. Like I drove into traffic from the median, you know, coming in and in traffic, and this guy is hauling up ass and honking at me and shit. We're going to a red light. I'm like, dude, you know, what the fuck are you looking past me, you schmuck? You know what I mean? So
it
yeah,
is a bit of a cesspool, though. I will say, I don't think I ever planned on staying in Florida as long as I've been here. I moved here 20 years ago, and it is a mishmash with the rehab centers, like just the mishmash of people. They have people who fled their country. We have this like huge illegal immigration population here. We have people who can't like live without the sunshine on certain months, so they had to move down here. Half of them, I think, are escaping warrants for their arrest in other states, but not even like for blue collar crime. I'm talking like high end embezzlers. I mean, people come here. There's
a lot of them are doing is they have homes up in Connecticut and New York, but they have everything registered down in Florida. Right. So they don't have to pay taxes.
Right. You got the taxes, you got, you know, like I said, all kinds of insurance scams and Medicare scams. There's a total element of scumbags here. But I always think about retirement, and I don't want to move somewhere just so I have to move back to Florida, because I feel like I still need to die here.
Really? Well, here's the thing. I'm excited about the change. You know what I mean? I'm not bad about it. Wouldn't mind. It's a seller's market, by the way, for houses. But I went through Charlotte area, found I like the place in Concord, which is outside Charlotte.
Okay, outside Charlotte. Okay.
And then we went to the mountains and stuff. You know, in the mountains, we went like in Hendersonville, which is, you know, beautiful
right
homes
outside of Asheville.
You go out, you go outside in the back porch, and you're basically in the trees. You know what I mean? You got, you know, and but that was funny because one of the houses we were looking at, the lawn care service came to clean the place. And I'm thinking, where's the lawnmowers? They all had leaf blowers, super duper leaf blowers, because the mountain, you got. I don't know who cleans gutters. I don't even know why there's gutters on those fucking houses. You know what I mean? They just fill with leaves.
I did them today.
Did you climb up and clean your own gutters, Max?
I cleaned my own gutters. I went on the roof with the leaf blower and blew my freaking gutters out.
Holy shit!
God. Because it's gonna rain tomorrow.
You didn't watch that? You don't watch that commercial with that guy? Hey, Bill, get off that ladder. That's way too dangerous. I want to sell you these $40,000 leaf gutter filters. It was crazy. You know what I mean? And
Florida's changed. Back when I first started doing comedy, Florida, Miami, North Miami was all retired Jewish people. Very nice. That Wolfie's is not there anymore, is it?
A few years.
Is it a diner? Wolfie's Diner?
Yeah, right there in Sunny Isles area.
Want to hear a great story?
No, we don't have that. We're just a podcast. We don't listen to great stories.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm working in North Miami Beach. Real true story. Back around 83, 84, or 82, somewhere around the early 80s. and they had young comedian night at the name of the hotel, Newport Hotel on North Miami Beach. The entire audience is full of old Jewish people from probably from New York, the New York area, but they're all retired down there. The entire audience. But it was called Young Comedian Night. I'm one of the comics, right? And remarkably, that night I did very well. I mean, usually in front of crowds like that, it would be, but that night I did very well. So I left the stage and I'm walking near the back of the room, and it was a round table full of old women. And one of them calls out, she says, "You come over here. Come here. You are terrific. We come here every week. We watch all the young comedians. You were one of you. Do we love them, girls?" And they're all nodding. You know, obviously she's the spokesman for all these old women. And she says, "Give me your phone number. My grandsons live in Los Angeles. They make movies. Maybe you've heard of them. Have you ever heard of the Coen brothers?" I said, "Of course I've heard of the Coen brothers." I'm all excited. Holy cow. Yes. I said, "Those are my grandsons. Give me your card. I'm going to give it to my grandson. I swear to you, you're going to make it." That's what she says to me. So I said, "I don't have a card. Can I write my name and phone number on it?" She goes, sure. So I write my name, Max Dolcelli, and I put my phone number down. She picks it up and she looks at it through her glass. She goes, "Max Dolcelli?" I said, "Yes, I'm Italian." She says, "Good luck in your career." I swear to God, that really happened. And I really want to meet one of the Coen brothers to ask them, "Did your grandmother live in Miami Beach?" I met her.
Absolutely
give you my phone number.
Yeah.
It was like when she found out I was Italian, because she remembered the name Max. She
feels
just
off.
like, good luck in your career. And then she turns away and starts talking to her friends.
Can you imagine how many times the Coens got cards from their grandmother about?
I don't know, but I would love to meet them so I can say, this is what happened. Whether she was your grandmother or whether she was lying, but it was probably their grandmother.
That is the best Nancy Pelosi story I've ever heard.
So, nobody with the name Antoinette or Antonio or Rubio or anything would have gotten that call.
Yeah, it was Max Dolcelli. Don't you know that whenever you see them, it's Max Dolcelli.
Wow.
I kind of understand it, the second world, Mussolini anyway.
Although no, historically the Italians and the Jews are close. Over time, obviously there's the Italians and Jews are very
my
similar.
mother could be Jewish.
Yeah, the culture is very similar. My mother was Italian, my father was Jewish. We have a good
and
experience.
You're in therapy, right?
Right, that's it. That's the Catskillian. That was very Catskillian of you.
That was Solomon, right? George Solomon that put that show together.
Yeah.
Originally, and then every open micer has done it since.
Peter Fogel was starring in that local comic down here. Peter Fogel was a one-man show for a while for that show. I tell you what, you were talking about earlier in the show about doing a gig and working with
which one?
I'm having a
do you need Prevagen? Should we get George. Prevagen, the sponsor of the show?
We can't let George get another 4 years. It's George Lopez. I
worked with him at Rascals once, years and years ago.
George Lopez, yeah. No, Mitch Hedberg. You were talking about Mitch Hedberg.
We worked at Giggles. It was called Giggles down in Tampa. There was a club called Giggles.
Giggles. That's a strip club, Max. That's not a comedy club. Did you guys go to the strip club and start telling jokes? No wonder you got into a fight. They're like, "Get these assholes off the stage."
He meets Hedberg. He picks up Hedberg at the airport. They go, "Hey, they'll do heroin." Next thing you know, they're performing at a strip club. All right. Obviously, Jen and I were not there, Max. So first of all, how many times did you get to work with that guy?
Oh, a couple of times, but this time I remember because we were there the whole entire week together.
Nice.
And I was driving. I had a car, and we were driving back to the hotel or condo. I forgot where they put us, a condo or a hotel. but we were rear-ended. But I'm driving, all of a sudden it was a rent-a-car, and we were rear-ended, and Mitch goes, "Holy fuck!" And this guy who hit us takes off, and he says, "Go after him." And I just did it in things. So we followed this guy for probably 3 or 4 miles, and we finally got into a dead end street, and he stops the car and he gets out and he's like, "You want a piece of me?" and all this other stuff. And me and Mitch are trying to fight him from both sides. And finally somebody called the police, and when the police came, we explained to him what happened, and they told us that we shouldn't have followed him, but he got arrested for hitting and running.
Yeah, why did he leave the scene? Did he
and
not
he
have
didn't have
insurance?
insurance, so that was the problem.
There's usually 2 reasons why somebody will run from a scene of an accident. A, they are high,
Yeah,
Or they have a
drunk,
warrant. They know
or
there's
they
a
have a warrant,
warrant.
or,
I think he was drunk. Yeah, too.
or like you said, they just don't have insurance, and
Yeah,
they know they can get arrested.
But-
You know,
Mitch was fun to. He was. I liked him.
I'm actually surprised that as laid back as he was, that he would be like, if you would ask me, what would Mitch do? A, make you chase the guy, follow that car.
He actually said, "Go get him," or something like that.
Or
That's nice though that you had a nice time with him, that you have a good memory. Because I hate, I find it interesting how there's some comedians, sometimes I get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get to work with this person this week. It's going to be so much fun. And it's amazing how many really great comedians are really not fun to be around when they're not on stage.
I know a few.
Yeah. No, I feel like there's a handful that I actually really genuinely enjoy hanging out with and like having a good
I
time.
started back in '79, so a lot of the comedians that I started with and worked with have become celebrities. And every comic that started back then, we know guys that become superstars.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more of us that didn't.
Well, now we have a lot of people who think that they're superstars. Social media kind of ruined that, because now that we have a lot of people with mediocre talent that think they're superstars, right, Dougie? Wouldn't you say that's the hardest part about comedy, is dealing with them?
There's definitely a delusional sense at times. It's like, there was a moment, like being at a comedy festival, and I would work with somebody, and they were basically telling their jokes from a certain part of Florida down in I think it was in San Antonio, Texas. And there was I don't want to call the person out, but basically, they were using these jokes and it was flopping like crazy, because I just remember thinking to myself, you can't, because I hear it all the time, like, well, I could do this, I could do that. Meanwhile, I'm still at the Stone trying to bang out my shit. And I performed in over 43 states over the last several years, different crowds, different audiences and stuff. So, and I'm thank you. But, even then I'm still like, where am I at now? I just got the basic foundation of understanding the differences, and learning how to adapt in somewhat, but I'm sure as hell not, hey, I want a fucking headline. You know what I mean? I got the time, but I don't want to be like you said, nothing. This is what comedy clubs do too. And tell me if I'm wrong. If you get somebody who thinks they're a headliner, they want a headline, you give them a weekend, they end up bringing like super duper people to come in and do fucking spots.
Yeah.
And just like, it's just ripping like that. So it's a crazy business, man.
Some of the funniest guys I've ever seen never made it big.
Sure.
Chris Rush. I don't know if you ever heard of Chris Rush. Brilliant comedian. Brilliant. He passed away. Ronnie Shakes did 2 Tonight Show spots. Johnny loved him. He would do jokes like, "I know hell is hot, but is it humid?"
Yeah.
He was just brilliant, and he passed away as well, very young. He was only 44 when he died. Dennis Wolfberg. I mean, some of the greatest comics there should be a documentary, the greatest comedians that you've never heard of.
That you've never heard of. I will partner with you on that, because that is my same exact response when people go, who's your favorite comic? I'm like, you've never heard of them.
The funniest guys you've never heard of.
The
Well, let me ask
funniest
you
guys
that.
you've never heard of. Oh my gosh.
Let me
I
ask
love
you that, because like as Jen said, there's a lot of, in our scene now, a lot of people like think they're great right off the bat. But there is that element. It'd be a great story because even like in our we have comics that that I kind of grew up here in Florida with that are making it and becoming great and stuff. And there's like that difference, like sometimes it's not all about obviously talent. Sometimes it's about a bunch of other things that got to come into a perfect storm, right? And you never know. You never know. You never know. If you can isolate this, if you can almost say, here's probably 2 or 3 of the things that differentiate the really funny person that never becomes famous, and the other funny person who just explodes into
Yeah.
I just don't understand how people aren't humbled. Like the stage for me, like when you walk up to the ocean and the ocean just feels so big, you feel so small to the ocean. I feel like that when I first started comedy, and even to this day, I still have the same respect for it that I do for the ocean.
Yeah. How big was it?
Yeah, and it was big. Although I've had
Ronnie Shakes used to do a great joke. This girl was so fat.
How big was she?
I don't know. I never got back far enough to see all of her.
Oh, that's great.
I was attracted to her though. I think it's called gravity.
Yeah. See, now Ronnie would be chewed up, spit out because everybody would be like,
people
"That's
nowadays-
body shaming."
Yeah,
Oh gosh, you want to hear another story? Doug, you want to hear another story?
yes, please.
I used to do a joke back in the 80s. Remember MC Hammer? Can't touch this?
Yeah.
This was a joke. Very simple. This is all I talk about. This is very simple. I'm walking down the beach in Fort Lauderdale, and there was a woman on the beach. Big woman. Huge woman. Huge. 1,000 pounds. I said, there was a 1,000-pound woman sitting on the beach wearing a t-shirt that said, "You can't touch this." I walked up to her. I said, "Thank you." That's all the joke was. That's all it was. After a show one night, a big woman comes up to me and she's like screaming at me. She goes, "You shouldn't make fun of fat people." I said, "Where do I make fun of fat people? Because there's only that one joke."
Right.
I said, "I don't make fun of fat people." What are you talking about? She goes, "What about that woman on the beach?" I said, "Oh, really? Come on, please." She goes, "No, that's not funny. It's not funny. I'm offended." I said, "Yes." And then now I'm apologizing. Have you ever had to apologize to people? Just pretend.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really sorry. I'll never do. She goes, "Well, you shouldn't make fun." I said, "You're right. I will never do that." She goes, yeah, but you should. I said, "Ma'am, I'm really, please just let it go." She wouldn't let it go. She's in my face. She's spitting at me. And at that point, I snapped. I said, "Look, first of all, I was talking about a 1,000-pound person. 1,000 pounds, not even realistic, not even in your league. What are you, 500, 600? I actually said to her, "What are you, 500, 600?
She was double your size.
I thought she was going to kill me. She goes, "I'm telling the manager."
After I go get some onion rings.
And the manager came by and started laughing.
Go ahead. You can't even fit into his office.
Yeah, you have to go down that thin hallway to get there, hon. That's nuts, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. Listen, the comedy, and you've been doing a lot of cruise ships, so that business has been shut down. So, comedy has a lot of headwinds right now. And you talk about comics coming in and doing spots. There's only so many places open. Like when I went to North Carolina, I was supposed to be at a club, but a celebrity ended up booking it so we got bumped a week or two before because where are they going to work? There
are celebrity comics working crummy little clubs now.
Yeah, whatever they can take. And you know what?
Let me tell you something. Cruise lines, when they come back, it's not going to be the same. You're going to have to, if you're a guest entertainer, you're going to probably have to stay on for 6 months or 7-month contract and be part of a crew member, because they're not going to want you to jump ships with all, with the.
That's a good point.
And then come back on after you've been bringing your COVID everywhere.
So it's going to be different, and the money's going to be cut. So, but I did 29 years at sea. I had a great time.
Yeah, that's a long run, because that's not the easiest gig in the world, from what I understand.
Yeah, Max, do you have kids?
I have, 5 sons, and been married 4 different times, 5 sons, and I lost a lot of time. I see my sons more now than I ever have.
Okay.
Well, that's good, dude. Everything, sometimes this stuff happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Speaking of things happening for a reason, one of the topics I wanted to talk about today was the CNN chief analyst and reporter for the New Yorker, Jeffrey Toobin. Jen,
Love
you
it.
like the story. Was caught masturbating on a Zoom call.
Tubin.
Boy, it took a little inspiration there.
Let me tell you something. If I'm anywhere near a video camera, I wouldn't do anything like that.
That's my point. Here's this guy's he's like the chief legal analyst for CNN, which, by the way, whispers I understand is that Jeff Bezos may be buying CNN from AT&T. That was some of the whispers.
Yeah, Bezos is going to own.
I got an issue with that. Is that Jeff Bezos's thing? CNN? I mean, is he a CNN watcher?
Well, it fits, right? I mean, but he has to buy it, not his Amazon money. And it's interesting how people say you can differentiate.
Amazon money, really?
How much of Jeff Bezos' money isn't Amazon money? You know what I mean? It's somehow. What do you mean? After it's been taxed, it's okay. Once it's gone through the system, then it's his. I get it. That's probably what it is. But
he could wipe out starvation in this world. He could wipe it out with the money he has.
Just him.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something really sad now, but every single day on this planet, thousands of people die of starvation. Okay, I'm sorry to ruin everything.
No, that's true. It's a good point. I mean, that's part of what we're talking.
As Jen said, talking about.
Should he be paying for it? I mean, I don't even know anymore. I mean, is it his responsibility to pay for it?
No, it's not his responsibility. But how much money do you need?
Well, here's the thing. I've gone up and down that scale, and it seems the more you get, the more you need. Everything just opens up crazy. It's a weird, it's definitely a weird thing. I obviously have never made billions. But he, you have to. That's the thing. If you have the possibility to do it, like think about that as comics. As a comic, I don't give a shit about how much some comic makes. The only thing I care about is stage time. I want to be, you know what I mean? If you have a comic that's constantly at the same club, and you're not working that club, you're like, why aren't other comics getting to come in for a variety? You know what I mean? So I don't give a shit about how much money you make. You know what I mean? I don't care about that. But there's a theory called abundance. And in abundance, there has to be, with the human nature to survive, is, the human spirit has to think of abundance, meaning, no, I don't need 18 bottles of water, or cases of water when there's a hurricane coming. I'm going to go ahead and try to get 4 because realistically, that might be all I need. I don't want 3 other people to not have it because I have to have 6 months of fucking supplies for a hurricane because I think that's what I need.
That's how you and I would think, but some people don't think that way.
Well, obviously, look what happened in COVID. They bought up all the fucking toilet paper. Nobody was like, well, I wonder, how much toilet paper am I really going to need? And I want other people to have toilet paper too. They fucking bought up toilet paper, but I still can't buy bleach wipes.
I was renting hotel rooms just for the extra roll.
Just for the...
Exactly.
I got a bidet.
Oh. I haven't used the bidet.
No, but part of the fiscal discussion that we have in this country, it's really easy to say like, oh my God, well, so obviously I can't believe some people have so much and some people have so little. But at the end of the day, that's not the general conversation. You can't just say, well, because they have so much, they have. I don't know what the answer is, but you can't just tell them.
Well, when it comes to that,
here's
the problem: when people can own billions and have that much wealth, there's going to be the other end of it. It's like yin yang. It's a scientific. For every action, there's a reaction. That's just the way things go. So, listen, there's so many people on this earth. You know what I mean? There's just we're at that point. That's why people are going crazy and stuff, and that's why we can't do comedy anymore on comedy ships.
Wait, can we go back to Toobin?
Yes. Well, here's
we'll come back eventually, Doug. It'll be different though, and there's going to be an opportunity for people to open up new comedy clubs. And
There's going to be opportunities for everybody to open up all kinds of new things. That's why sometimes when they're like, well, we have to save the airlines. I don't know that we have to save the airlines. I think it's up to the airlines.
wait a
Either
minute, I got a
sink or
lot of points with Delta. I don't want to go on.
Shut
I
up.
don't think, I think Delta's doing okay. They're going to
Okay.
either sink or swim. And then you know what? Somebody starts a new airline. That
Yeah.
it does. It breeds. It's like a recession. In a recession, there's some people who lose really big. and
Amazon
there's-
Airlines, guaranteed. You watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be Amazon Airlines.
Yes.
And,
They
you know, and
deliver you and your package.
you're right. You know, Jen, listen, you're definitely right. From destruction comes other things. It's like the Phoenix, you know, in that theory. But, you know, hey,
Yes, it rises from the ashes.
yeah, there always things come about. You're right. And I think, listen, you're right, especially about the comedy clubs. You know, there'll be, this is a country, at least, that we have the opportunity to do that. And there are a lot of people, because there are a lot of people, and a lot of people that are smart and that have money and have the ability to do so. So new trees will be planting up in the comedy world. But one of the things I was interested about, you know, Tubin, again, you know, I love it when somebody really important gets caught doing something so childish. But it almost reminded me of the time when Pee Wee Herman was caught masturbating
In the movie theater.
in the movie theater, and he got his career just went
Just
ended.
Yeah.
And he was in
Oh, really?
he was in an adult video. What are you going to be doing in there? Playing disc golf?
Yeah,
You know,
I think the cops should have just let him alone.
very different. You know.
That was unfortunate. He did not deserve that PR
Did
nightmare.
not. No.
But this guy does. Okay, like Max, you said, you know, is my camera off? Oh, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and pull my dick out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, who does
Is there
that?
an actual video of it somewhere? Not that I
Yeah.
want to see it, but is there an actual video of
Hey,
it?
Brad, can you
Maybe I'm-
can you send Max a video of Tubin jerking off? Can you please
It's
get him
going
a
to be on
copy?
Pornhub.
Yeah. Go ahead and send it to his fam. Don't worry about his personal email.
No, I
Just send it to his.
don't want to see it. I just want to know if it's a video.
Just send it to his video that says "place of business." Yeah. But here's another story: open relationships, open marriage. You've been married 5 times, you said, Max?
No,
4.
not 5 times, just 4. God.
4.
Just 4. God, why do you have to make it seem so bad? 4
Well, how many times was Liz Taylor married?
7,
12.
8,
Ooh, you're
7
getting.
or 8, somewhere in there.
I'm giving her even more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I got married my first time when I was 19 years old. It was like the dumbest. I just wanted love. I had a very unloving childhood. I met somebody that said I loved you, and I said I love you too. You know, and then the next thing, and we were living together, and she told her parents that we were married because her parents were very strict Catholics. And I said, well, why don't we just do it? What the hell was I thinking? I'm 19. And that lasted all of a couple of years.
And then there was 3 more.
And there was another one, and then there was another one, and then anyway.
Are you married now?
I am very much happy. I've never been happier. We're not technically married, but I feel more married now than I've ever felt.
That's beautiful. How long are you guys together?
Almost about 7.5 years now. And it's
Okay.
perfect.
Has this beaten most of the marriages in time?
This has beaten everything.
I don't mean like in.
Oh, time wise,
No. Yeah.
no. My last marriage lasted longer,
Wow.
but
It's interesting. You know, I think about it because my wife and I have been together for over a quarter of a century.
wow. See,
Over a quarter of a
the right
century.
one, Dougie. You met her.
Yeah.
You met the right one. You know, you're very lucky.
Yeah. Well, I didn't feel lucky when we were driving in that car all around North Carolina.
Why was she?
Pain in the ass.
Were you the one driving?
Yes.
Was she complaining about your driving?
Everything. Everything. Dude. You know, watch this. Don't do. You know, again, I love my wife. It's always funny, but it's always funny when somebody gets mad if somebody else does it. Like, don't tell me how to drive, and then you're driving, and you're always telling me how to drive. It's not good. Like I've been married once, okay, and you know I'm imagining that you probably told your wife, "Don't fucking tell me what to fucking say." See, I try not to do
you
that.
kidding? I would never have the balls to do that.
Well, I'll tell you, Dougie, one of the benefits and the perks of meeting somebody, having the opportunity to meet somebody later in life. So I was married. I was with my husband for 10 years. At 40, I don't remember, were we 43 when we got together? My boyfriend and I had the same exact birthday. Actually, it's this week on Thursday. We'll both be 45. And one of the benefits of meeting somebody at that point in your life is, you know, now how to talk to somebody. You might feel this way too, Max. You've been with your wife or your girlfriend.
Allison and I, we communicate very well.
We get along so well. And I don't ever, there are things that in the past that just seem real benign. You're like, oh, you know, like you said, what are you doing? Don't drive like that. Or even your tone. I would never take that tone with Stuart. I love it. I'm sorry.
You're in your 40s?
I am. I'm 45. I'll be 45
you
on
look
Thursday.
like I think you're like 20 something.
All right. No, see, look, I'll show you my wrinkles.
No.
But no,
Max
we
is trying
get
to get
along.
laid over here. Jesus.
We
Doug,
get along wonderfully because you have a chance. Like, what if you could take everything that you knew from your marriage and then just completely redo it with someone else who's mature enough to go, you know what, this is, because he talks very nice to me too. He talks very, like, I talk to him nicely. He talks to me nicely.
You could definitely learn. Well, hopefully you would learn, right? Like, some people walk out of a relationship that doesn't work and they go back and they keep thinking about what the other person did wrong. They don't bother ever trying to think what they did wrong. You know, before we started the show, Jen, you even mentioned, oh, I didn't know what I was doing or something like that. When you made that. There's a lot of people that
with comedians is we're on the road so much. And back then I would go on the road for, I'd be home probably out of the year, total time at home, maybe out of 12 months, I'd be total time at home. I'd be home maybe a little over a month.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of the time I'd be on the road.
Yeah, that's very tough. Did you ever date
Hey, what? I didn't hear you. What?
In that time? Vax freezing us. Did you ever date another comedian?
Have I?
Yeah.
I have. I'm not going to mention any names, but I have a couple, 2, 3.
Look at that smile. This is a book. I want to hear more about that. It is fun. I did it. I dated a comedian. It ended terribly. It ended, but you know, it was funny. You were talking about the things that you regret, that taking a look at yourself in a relationship. And that's what made me think about it, is that particular dating another comedian. Like I said, I don't think I have anything left to say to that person. But I might say, you know what? I said things in jest to you that were not funny. Because when you're like joking, or like, that's the thing we do. We fire shots at people and we're joking around, but it's not funny. Like,
it's disguised. It's a disguised release of just tension.
Right. I said, that's my only message.
Yeah. Well, now you're making me nervous because sometimes we have that breakdown, I think, once in a while, where I'm trying to say something and it's like, what? And I'm like, I just said something nice. I just said something nice, and you're, what the fuck? Like, I want to talk.
That's funny.
Hey, Dougie, did you watch a new Borat movie?
Not yet.
Oh no, we're gonna watch it tonight. The one on Netflix, on Netflix, right?
I did.
I did. Is it funnier than the first?
Blasio. What am I thinking of?
Was it? First of all, my first question is, was it funnier than the first one?
For me, not really. No.
Okay.
It was very funny.
But do you like the character though? I mean, the character's
great.
the
character's the same, and there was a lot of the same gags as the first one. So I wasn't really, I can't believe that the ex-mayor of New York City.
Now, what happens? I don't want to give away anything. I guess maybe you shouldn't. But
what happened was he in this movie, Sacha Cohen, Borat, has a daughter, not really his daughter, but somebody's playing his daughter, and she is pretending to interview Giuliani. And in the news, but it just, the question just, it didn't make sense. I can't believe that Giuliani didn't see that it was all a setup,
Right.
And then of course she comes on to him and they go into a hotel room or something, and he's laying down and he's tucking in his pants.
because that's totally normal when you're just on a
Yeah, no,
regular
he wasn't
interview.
touching his pants. And then, of course, Borat brushes in the room and he goes, "She's only 15." Which, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't. She really wasn't. But I'm surprised that he doesn't sue them for. But I don't know if there's a lawsuit there or not. For setting them up like that.
Well, it is interesting. I want to see it. I've seen stuff about it, and of course, people on Facebook are saying, "Well, look at this." I'm like, who has? It's always amazing when people want to point out when somebody does something stupid. And you're like you never did something like, especially when a guy when it came to pussy. You know what I mean? You never done something that you didn't. Like how many guys that I know that actually waited for the stripper to get out of the strip club until the last car left. You know what I mean? Like she said she said for me to wait outside. Dude, the bouncer just pulled out.
No, but there has been a change, and it's not an excuse. And sometimes I feel bad for men. I'm not allowed to. I mean, this is frowned upon in the whole Me Too movement and shit. But I do feel bad because there are men who are held accountable for their behavior 20 years ago, and they were like, "Yeah, but times were different then." And women, of course, were like, "That's not a fucking excuse." Like, sorry, but that's not an excuse. But I don't know. Is it? It might be. Times were different then. And there was this acceptable behavior kind of, and I didn't create that acceptable behavior, but it was accepted.
Weinstein, I don't feel sorry for. Cosby was a legend to all comedians. He was.
I mean,
it broke my heart. It broke my heart.
It's very disappointing to see these people, these personalities that we grew up with and we admired and being put in this position. But with what happened with Giuliani, now we know. So now there is no excuse. I could give the guys 20 years ago a break. I can say, all right, I can even look at, like Louis C.K. I feel like that was wrong. I feel like, what the fuck were you doing at his room at 2:00 in the morning? And then I'm a victim blamer, but I don't go back to comedians' rooms. I don't go back to the.
Neither do I.
Yeah. And I don't piss on plants and stuff either. So, yeah, we lost you for a minute there, dear.
Dougie, where'd you start doing comedy? In Florida?
Yeah, my club was the New York Comedy Club. That's a place that gave me hosting work on a regular basis.
In Manhattan?
No, in Boca.
Was that Al Martin?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it still there?
It is now. And Randy Singer, who was there when I started, he ran the open mics, took it over and turned it into the Boca Black Box, which is
Randy, nice the Boca Black Box.
Very nice room.
Was that a comedy club? Oh, yeah. The guys from Baltimore used to.
Yeah, the guy.
Garvin, the guy from Garvin.
Oh, there's.
No, the
owned that place, right?
Don and his brother.
By the way, Dougie, I'm lifetime banned from Black Box because of that conversation we had many years ago on the podcast.
Okay, well, Don, Don and his brother, I can't remember his name, but good guy. They gave me a shot. They let me host. That's the way it worked for me. And we were talking about people we knew, and I got to meet and work with the comedy legend Otto and George, who we were talking about. And
did Lenny Schultz ever stop by when you were there?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God!
The first time I got to feature. The first time they bumped me up from MC to feature, I had my first feature weekend, and guess who shows up to do a spot just before I go up? Not Lenny, but but this time it was Bobby Collins.
Oh, Bobby Collins, Continental.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, great, my first time featuring here. But Lenny would come up there and just do a few minutes, and
when Lenny was in his heyday, no one can follow him. No one, not even Robin Williams. He was just insane.
Yeah, he would come. He did his joke. He'd come on the stage. Hey, everybody! He'd have his hanger, and he'd have
with the grapefruit.
Yeah, and he'd go, "Hi, how are you?" And he's like, "Don't talk to me." I just
I love that. That's wacky.
Little kiss. Okay, it's fucking like
I'm coming. He squeezed the grape.
He had that Pee Wee Herman doll.
Oh
no, was it Pee Wee? Yeah, he had the Pee Wee Herman doll. Hey, we got some stories and stuff, and I don't know if you guys have extra time because we're running a little late. But I wanted to talk about a couple of quick things as well. Brad Pitt's girlfriend went back to her husband, who they were in an open relationship. Now, we didn't talk about the story.
The
We didn't,
husband and the girl were in an open, when the woman were in an open
right.
relationship.
And they're in an open relationship, and the guy says, "Yeah, whoever you want, hon. Just tell me about it. Make sure you wear a condom." I imagine if you're having an open relationship, you better be wearing a condom. I didn't wear a condom, but I was wearing a mask when I was banging her. Now, have you ever been in a relationship with somebody who was that wanted to be in an open relationship? Have you ever been in an open relationship?
I haven't. I
No.
mean, he didn't want to be in a relationship, but I had an open relationship.
On my side.
That's called cheating, Max.
Well, that was
What?
many years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't even imagine doing the stuff that I couldn't even imagine doing.
Well, I have been in an open relationship. I have been in several open relationships. They never work. But there is something about the idea. There's something nice about the idea of thinking, you know what? I love this person, and it makes perfect sense that other people will love this person too, and wait, and then feel and relate
Mhm.
to them in a different way. But it never works. I always ended up leaving those relationships to go be in a monogamous relationship.
Well, let
with
me ask
somebody
you
who-
this, because in an open relationship, there has to be some level of equality. Okay. Because like, I'm not going to have an open relationship with my wife because she goes to yoga 4 days a week. She keeps in shape. You know what I mean? And I don't want to, if we're in an open relationship, she's, she's banging firemen, and I'm, like I
But
said,
if you love somebody, if you really love somebody, you don't want to be in a. I
That
couldn't
is the
imagine-
Max. Yes.
Right?
And if you have a healthy relationship, you have a value to
Yeah.
one another that you like. I can't imagine being with someone else or sharing my partner with someone else.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you regarding this, Jen, because or Max. Let's say you're in an open. Let's say you're going with all of a sudden hypothetically you're in an open relationship, and now she's just been sleeping with Brad Pitt for the last 3 weeks, like this guy's wife. So
I
now
would ask her to ask Brad if he can put me in the next movie.
and don't tell him my name's Dolcelli.
I don't have a problem with this, but I'm gonna need some time.
I don't know if I could be in a relationship like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, listen. If I'm going to put myself there as hard as it is. And
She said you have a bigger dick than.
That's it, right?
And
I mean, listen. If my
which
dick,
is actually irrelevant.
well, listen, you're just saying that, but let me tell you something.
I bet her husband asked her that.
You would have to.
It's always it'll be the first thing he asked.
Yeah, you would say, and then how was he better than me?
Yeah.
But hey, if that's the case, it's him. I bet. But who do you top with that? Like, okay, honey, okay, you've been sleeping with Brad Pitt. I've been sleeping with, Sofia Lagara. Yeah. No, I'd like to. I'd let
Is that your celebrity?
There's something
fuck?
about her. Absolutely. I would have sex.
Google her.
See the lady from Modern Family who's married to.
Oh, her, the wife,
Latina.
the wife of the old guy.
Yeah, Sophia. I would love to have sex with her on one of her rooms to go couches.
Really? I don't find her attractive at all for some reason.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, I've never been a guy who's been attracted. Like, oh, celebrities. Oh, she's so hot. You know what I mean? I've never been. The Farrah Fawcett poster back in the the 70s with the nipple. That got you into that. Linda Carter from Wonder Woman. Oh,
yeah,
gorgeous.
Raquel Welch. I mean, even when I was a kid, seeing her on the TV.
Betty Grebel.
What?
Betty Grebel was the pinup girl for World War II. All the soldiers had her. And you want to hear something? She was married to Jackie Coogan.
Who's Jackie Coogan?
You know, Jackie
I gotta
Coogan
Google all of this.
Uncle Fester.
Oh my God!
Really? Although I guess when he
Uncle
doesn't have his
Fester was
Uncle
married
Fester.
to Betty Grable. Yeah.
Well, was he really bald, or was that just the?
Really bald, yeah. But when he was younger, well, he was a child star, so he got a lot of heat, And then Betty Grable, apparently was enamored by him, and she married him, and then of course the marriage didn't last that long, but she became the pinup girl. All the guys wanted, to be with Betty Grable. You know.
Although, you know what Brad Pitt doesn't have? You know why she went back to her husband? And this, you have to know this man. Do you know what the most attractive, hottest thing is? Trait of a
That he
man?
vacuums. His
Sense of
husband, the husband
humor.
vacuums.
Sense of humor.
What?
Sense of humor.
A sense of humor. And you know who
Yes.
said that? Marilyn Monroe. If you can make a woman laugh, you can make her do anything.
You can make her do anything. It is so any woman of intellect, and I think there's a cerebral part to that because I think there's some women who have to have. I think they're driven by money, security. There's a primal instinct in that, but a smart, beautiful woman, whether she's beautiful on the inside or out, sense of
Make them
humor,
laugh.
hands down, is
Guys,
the most
so guys,
important
don't go
trait.
when COVID ends. Don't go buy chicks beers. Just go out there and tell them knock knock jokes.
You know, it's funny. Allison is funnier, sometimes much funnier than I am. She comes up with some brilliant stuff. Just
Yeah.
you know, and of course I write it down.
That's
Yeah.
that is so lovely because you know what, I too can
Max
be
is like,
certain-
"You're gonna use that?"
You must share that with her about how funny she is because
Oh, she knows it. She knows
nothing
it.
flatters
Right,
me more.
Well, sometimes
And-
that's funny. Like my wife is so dry at times, you know, very stern and serious that all of a sudden she'll say something and I'll be like, "Oh," because it came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Well, here's our word of the day. By the way, Jen, we are doing a word of a day.
I love it.
Day.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, word of the day today is hypnic jerk. Hypnic jerk.
Yeah.
Hypnic tick?
Hypnic jerk.
Is it a tick that makes you like see things?
No, it's like when you feel like you're falling. It's like when you're asleep and all of a sudden you're like,
It's like the first remember back in school when you'd be sitting there trying to hold yourself up with the teachers talking and then you feel like your desk was going to fall forward.
Oh, yeah.
Slam your hands on the table. You're doing
Who did a joke like that? Steve Wright, right? The Boston guy. Was it Steve Wright?
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, you feel like it. I feel like that all the time.
Funny. Well, hypnic jerk. So use it today if you can, or in this week, and we appreciate it. And follow us on Twitter at Wake Up Dougie. Here's it's time to play Make It Funny. This is where everybody here on the show gets to team up so we can make the news segment funny.
Oh gosh.
Exactly.
Pressure.
Yeah. All this fucking pressure.
I need you.
I know. I didn't prepare, but I'll do
No.
my best.
What did he say something? All right. Well, let's do this. We have a few stories. We're going to zip through them. We're going to try to go to the headlines, and you guys think whatever you can to do this. But our first story is a puppy with green fur is born in Italy.
Un cane con la pelle verde che è nato in Italia. Che parte d'Italia? Ma tu capisci?
Sì,
molto piacere.
Puoi parlare perché io posso parlare italiano molto bene. Sono nato in Italia.
C'è un peccici.
You know, I was born in Italy. You know,
yeah, I know, dude. And we got to get into that at some point. I'm trying to see where it says it here, but it says an Italian farmer welcomed a litter of 5 dogs earlier this month, and one of the pups stood out among them. Christian Malocci couldn't believe his eyes when one of them was born with green fur. I guess
dog away from the olive oil. Jesus Cristo, ma che cazzo?
Well, that's what happens when you have a dog that's sleeping around with all the other dogs in Italy.
It seems like Kermit the Frog is banging something other than a pig. The dog, however, won't always be green. The color will continually fade, unfortunately. In Sardinia, in the island of Sardinia. They named the dog Pistachio.
Pistachio?
Yep. Like a pistachio nut, which, by the way,
I know what a pistachio is.
I thank you. I imagine. I was just reintroduced to the pistachio, and I ate a fucking bag. Like,
and now you're shitting bricks. You know, because I speak Italian fluently, it bothers me when people don't say the words. It makes me. You want to hear? I was at Trader Joe's not long ago. I'm looking for ricotta. I asked the lady. I said, "The worst." I said, "Could you tell me where the ricotta?" She goes, "Huh?" I said, ricotta. Where do you keep the ricotta? She goes, I don't think we have that. What is it? Ricotta. She goes, well, what is it? I said, it's like cheese. She goes, we have cheese over there, but I'd never heard. And I said, oh, wait a minute. Hold it. I'm sorry. Ricotta. She goes, oh, yes. I said, ah! Ricotta.
But yet then at the same time, I get annoyed like when Spanish people who are English but they always like put the extra like Pedro, like they use a full English sentence. Like tonight when we were visiting with Pedro.
You mean like Alexander Ocasio-Cortez?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Ricotta.
Oh, ricotta. You just reminded me of something. I got some of prosciutto.
Prosciutto.
Oh.
Well, you know what they call it? Some people call it prosciutto.
Prosciutto, yeah. Prosciutto is the meat of the gods.
It is.
My wife can trust me with 8 naked women in the house, but she cannot trust me with a pound of prosciutto in the fucking refrigerator. Oh, if that shit's around, I'll eat the hell.
Now wait a minute. What about the other
Parmigiano.
Cheese? Is it the mozzarella?
Mozzarella.
Okay, there's an A at the end.
Yeah.
Mozzarella.
Here's our next story, by the way.
It's not fangul, it's vaifanculo. Oh, by the way, on NBC Nightly News, they were talking about in Italy right now, they're protesting. It's funny because they actually aired it, and the Italian protesters were screaming, vaifanculo.
On the news.
I actually recorded it. But in American, I guess the TV people didn't realize what they were saying.
What are they protesting? I saw that very quickly on the evening news.
Yeah, they were saying vaifanculo, which means, go fuck yourself.
I know, but what is the protest about? Is it about
because they're changing they're curfewing the bars and they're shutting down the bars in Italy and Spain and
that's not just in America.
I was talking about this on a Facebook post earlier the other day about that, and there people are talking about this and they're bringing up like South Korea and the countries that are supposedly doing better, and I'm like, listen, one of the things you want to check in South Korea is the obesity rate versus the United States. One of the things you should check is the heart rate. But people with heart problems, all these fucking America's not healthy. If you want to know why we're not dealing with this very well, because we're not a fucking healthy fucking country. So, don't compare it to fucking Korea, where somebody who's 78 years old could fucking do Tai Chi, and balance on a beam, at this point. And it is,
red wine at night.
That's right. It does seem, by the way, the countries that are the countries that are having the worst problem with this right now are the countries that are like, fuck it, we want to do what we want to do. We're not going to let this thing do what it's doing. That's where's lack of discipline. Yeah.
Like Sweden.
Well, the thing about Sweden is they said, fuck it, we're going to take this on because they are healthier people, much healthier people than Americans. And I played soccer with a bunch of Swedes and had a shower with these guys. Trust me, they're healthier.
You can tell by their urine in the shower that they're healthier. Their pee smells amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I hated showering when I was in high school. Remember, I was born in Italy. I'm the only kid that wasn't circumcised.
Hey, mommy, why is everybody looking at my dick? That's fun. Great. Here's our next story. Man stunned by very rare 2-headed shark. We have never seen anything like this before. A fisherman from Palgar, India, caught a 6-inch baby shark with 2 heads. Well, it's off the coast of India. The shit that's floating in that water.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all head. I mean, it's 6 inches.
Can you say that again?
That was all head. I'm going there because you just told me it was like 6 inches with 2 heads. He's all head.
Did he throw it back in the water or did he keep it?
Well, he's Indian, so they gang raped it. Amish Palakar, another fisherman in the area, told the paper, "We have never seen anything like this before, but we did see a monkey fly." The group sent the photos to researchers in India, where they masturbated to it. Our next story. Here's I didn't know this has happened. But a woman grows hair in her mouth.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. And don't Google it because it is disgusting to see. I've done it. I've Googled that.
Oh great! Now I've got to freaking.
Oh God, I'm telling you, Max, it's disgusting. I don't know why I Googled it, but I have Googled it.
And if you haven't Googled yet, blue waffles.
Oh God, I feel like I have Googled that before.
Have you ever
Isn't the
Googled blue
internet
waffle?
just
Huh?
just Google hairy mouth or
Woman
hairy tongue?
Well, I just see a mouth. I don't really see. Oh my God.
You got
Oh
hair
my
coming out of
God,
your teeth.
make it
Ew.
stop.
Could you imagine?
Why would she want hair in her mouth?
Well, I don't know if it's a choice. I don't know if she,
It's a condition, right? It's a bacterial. It's like a bacterial overgrowth, is what it is.
yeah. Could you imagine? She makes you shave your privates, and then she got hair coming out of her teeth.
I like the Italian woman grows hair in her mouth. Italian woman.
Yeah.
She's Italian.
I'd imagine any of the women who went down on Charlie Sheen probably is suffering from the same condition.
Or Kathleen Zeta-Jones. It's been over a decade, but rare cases of women growing hair out of their mouth is still fascinating experts and grossing out many of us.
It's disgusting.
It began 19-year-old Italian woman met doctors at the University of Campania, Luigi Ventelli. See, you got mad at me as I tried to.
Doug, have you been to Italy?
No.
You should go. You have to go.
I do want to go there. I definitely want to go to Italy, and I want to go to Norway and up in that area, Scandinavian countries, visit some places.
Go to Italy. Give yourself plenty of time and advice. When you get to Rome or one of the big tourist destinations, pre-book your tours to all the sites on the official sites because there's a lot of scammers.
Really?
Now, what about if you use a travel agent?
You're not going to be able to get into the Colosseum or the Vatican. Make sure that you book it on the official Vatican site or the official, Italian site. Because otherwise you're going to get charged double, triple, or you're going to get just taken.
First visit to Italy. Where does somebody go? They go to Rome. They don't go to.
I would
Tuscany.
They don't go La Spezia and see Cinque Terre.
Okay, well,
La
we'll have that on
Spezia
the
and Le
website.
Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre, most beautiful place. One of the most beautiful places you'll see.
Okay.
Porto Venere, Cinque Terre, Spezia. Liguria is very pretty, beautiful.
So you're saying if somebody's never been to Italy before,
you have to see. You have to see the Vatican. You have to see Rome. I mean, the Colosseum is amazing. I mean, all of Rome is amazing.
Let me ask you a question, Max Dolcelli.
So many people just packed.
Max, I got to ask you a question. What's the fucking deal with the Swiss Army's, the Swiss Guards fucking uniforms?
Yeah, well, that's what they used to, the vet. You mean why are they? Well,
If those who don't know, if you look at the Pope's Guard, the Swiss.
Yeah, I know what the Swiss Army is.
No, I know, but the Swiss,
they still carried lances and stuff.
Yeah, and the fucking metal hats like the Don Quixote. And it's funny because I just did an open mic joke. It just reminded me like no one got it because not many people understood what I was saying. But I said you get beaten up by one of these guys, you think you got beaten up by an Easter egg.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like purple, yellow, green, fucking what an intimidating outfit.
Yeah, you do have to see the big cities, and you do want to see the Duomo in Florence, and there's just so much to see. It's a beautiful country.
Yeah,
but right now people are going crazy with this whole because they're closing down the country again.
Yeah,
they can't do that. They can't do that, and they can't do that here. That is.
Well, they did it in Italy before, and then the COVID was, but now it's coming back, and they're going to do the same thing. Try to do the same thing. Americans don't like to listen,
This is the thing, and it's an argument. And I'm sure other people feel quite differently about it. I had it. I was fortunate to have very light symptoms of it and all that shit. And fortunately, thank God that it's only about 98%, 99% of the people that get it don't really deal with much. You know what I mean?
And look at you, even with all of your pre-existing conditions.
I know with the herpes and the VD and the
now it's saying it affects your heart and gives you all kinds.
It's not funny. It's kind of funny, but it's not funny.
I know. Well, this is a comedy podcast, so thanks. But listen, this thing is so communicable. It's so contagious that unless we all sit in a fucking box for a month or two or three, there's no way this thing's going to just keep fucking spreading. And eventually you have to go for herd immunity. There's going to be losses. You know what I mean? It's like, if this is, I love when people say,
can you catch it again, Dougie?
I'm going to get another actually antibody test. and next week, I think it is, I'm getting tested again because they say some of the research they're saying now is the weaker the symptom, the less likely your antibodies last. So if you're really sick with it, you get stronger antibodies, and who knows if that's true or not. So,
I'm still
yeah.
wearing a mask. Well, you have to wear a mask now.
Yeah, otherwise people are going to shame you. But I mean, listen, I'm around people. I was going in and out of these elevators in these different hotels we're staying at and shit.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, man. Here's the thing: I get pissed at these newscasters when there's a cameraman 6 feet from her and there's no one around. And they got to wear the mask while they're trying to give us the news. Just take the fucking mask off.
Yeah, you need to put your website on that, Max.
Unemployed comedian.
Yeah, put like your website or a hashtag Max Dolcelli.
We'll do a
but I don't understand what they're saying about like Joe Biden is always like, I'm going to put a mask mandate, but I don't know what it's like everywhere else in the country, but we have to wear masks in Florida. Are they talking about like in my house, I need to wear a mask?
In Connecticut, we have to wear masks.
In Florida, we have to wear masks.
Here's the problem. Everybody, the spreads are happening when people are starting to go fucking crazy. So they see all these people that are doing these indoor parties. They're trying to keep that. This is where the spreads are fucking happening, and obviously in the Rose Garden of the White House.
Yeah.
So they're saying if you have like a party, it's mandatory that you have to wear a mask.
You shouldn't have a fucking party. That's the problem. When you think about it. Any rate, I'm going to move on. Quick, we got a couple quick stories. 13 Australian women pulled off a plane to have their genitalia invasively examined at the Doha airport.
They have it examined?
Yeah. Now, what would make you think that the authorities would go on a plane and pull 13 women off the plane to sit there and give them a pap smear right there in the restroom?
Meth.
What for? What was the reason?
Well, it turns out that somebody in the airport had found a stillbirth, I guess, in one of the bathrooms.
No.
Aborted fetus.
Oh, wow.
Airline staff allegedly found the abandoned premature baby in the bathroom before ordering the women off the fucking plane and stripped down, bitch.
Wow.
That is, they can't. What?
Now think about it. One of those women.
Country, they can do whatever they want there.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why. Otherwise, can you imagine those other 13 women who didn't do that? What they had to endure because somebody decided to leave their baby and not their luggage at the airport.
But what are you going to do? They're going to charge them with murder. They're going to charge. I mean, if I accidentally have a stillborn,
a miscarriage.
Was it a miscarriage or was it an abortion?
The woman said she had a date that night and couldn't deal with it. I don't know. It doesn't go into the details.
Makes perfect sense.
What do you do? I mean, how many? We've had this story before. People leaving their babies. But I think that is the joke, by the way. People don't leave their luggage, but they leave their baby. Our last story, I believe. Actually, there's two more. You know what? Let's see. I want to skip through. Skip that story. It's stupid. Our last story, the biggest World War II bomb was found in Poland, and it exploded underwater during a defusal attempt. Usually, when you defuse a bomb,
water in Poland, I mean, it's not anywhere near the ocean.
Right.
Gdansk is a port. Yeah.
Look at. I'm
this
impressed.
guy knows his geography.
I know, Max. I'm like, you just blew me away.
Well, I spent 29 years at sea. I've been in pretty much every port in the world, including oh my goodness, China. Forget it. The smog. It was
disgusting. Yeah. But Poland.
And some places I really loved. Japan, I loved. Alaska, I loved. South. I mean, there's some wonderful ports in this world. Some of them I don't care if I ever go back to again.
Yeah. Lucky nobody was hurt when the decades-old bomb went off.
It went off?
Yeah.
So was this like a German bomb? I mean, it was World War II bomb, and it was in Poland. So whose property was it? Was it Germany?
Maybe the Russians.
Yeah, that's what Hillary Clinton said. Last year, authorities in Poland discovered an unnerving relic from a World War II beneath the surface of the water, a massive unexploded bomb. Authorities tried to defuse the bomb, the largest of its kind ever found in Poland. It was oddly enough, the Polish military didn't send the bomb squad. They sent the...
You want to know why? You want to know why it was the largest bomb in Poland? Because I never performed there. If I performed, I would have been...
This bomb was so big they call it the eat a dick bomb. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't send the bomb squad. They sent a paramedic. That was the problem. The bomb itself was more than 20 feet long, much like my cock. And weighed 5.4 tons, much like me after this week-long trip. So yeah, it was the one of the earthquake bombs, the Second World War, nicknamed Tall Boy.
A tall boy. What's
Tall Boy was the earthquake bomb back then. Not like the bunker bomb we have now that we dropped on Afghanistan. Much different bomb. Well, that's all we have time for here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
But wait, Dougie, I forgot to ask, did you find a house in North Carolina before we go?
We found the goal of, it'd be nice. We haven't sold our house yet. We haven't even listed it yet. It's still being prepped. But the goal of this trip was, out of all the places in those two states and the areas we were going to look at, we wanted to narrow it down from 6 different cities and areas to about 1 or 2.
Okay.
And we've narrowed it down to 2 places.
Okay.
Now, folks, I'm going to, what do you think? Have you ever moved? Where do you live now, Max?
I live in Connecticut. I love it here.
How long have you lived there?
We have a wonderful, my backyard borders the Nathan Hale homestead. You've heard of Nathan Hale, right?
Yes.
Sure.
You know what Nathan Hale is famous for?
No.
Hailstones.
Actually, he plagiarized this line. He's famous for saying, "My only regret." He was being hung. He was a 21-year-old spy for George Washington. Got drunk at a bar in New York and blurted out, "Guess what? I'm a fucking spy." Oh shit. Something like that. Anyway, well, he was turned in by one of his friends, and he was hung. And while he was being hung, he said, "My only regret is that I have one life to give for my country." But during that period, there was a very famous play in New York, very popular play called Cato. It was a Roman, about the Roman Empire. Cato. And in this play, somebody's being hung, and he says, "My only regret is that I have one life to give for my country."
And that's where he stole that from.
Now, he had no idea he was going to be famous. He just wanted to say something profound.
Yes.
So he blurts out this line, and people go, "Wow, that's fucking great!" And he becomes famous for it.
And he headlined the Improv for 3 years.
And he did. He in fact, and then he and now he books it.
Exactly.
Right.
And he thinks I'm a Catskillian comic.
Now everybody's kissing his ass.
There you go. Well, it's been a pleasure, dude. We thank you so much for all the stories, Max.
Well, I hope that we didn't. I had other stories. Too bad we couldn't get to them.
Well, we could do them. I don't care. You guys got to go.
I want to hear a really funny Otto and George story.
Oh, please.
Okay. Now there was.
Hold on a second. Before you get, this is almost like one of those Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Some people already turned us off or walked away from the computer, and they're going to miss.
They're going to miss the Otto and George story. Otto and George was a triple X rated thing. Good. Sadly, Otto passed away a few years back. But without George, Otto was very timid. Like, he couldn't even make eye contact. He's like, "Hey, Max, how you doing? Everything okay? Yeah, everything good. Yeah, good to see you, man." But George was everything. George was like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Come on, George, be nice. Fuck you, suck my dick." Okay, now I was on a cruise ship. This was back around in the middle 90s, and I'm working on a cruise ship, and I get a call from and I get off the ship that day, and I walk in my house. I get a call from the owner of Pips in Brooklyn. Now, Pips was a very legendary club. It was the first comedy club in the country. It opened in 1962 by a comedian named Georgie Starr, who was really George Schultz. Now, Georgie Starr was best friends at the time with a comedian named Jack Roy, and they used to work, but they both sucked, so they both quit the business. Jack Roy started selling aluminum siding. Georgie Starr opened up a club in Brooklyn called Pips, and but Jack Roy went back into the business, but he changed his name to Rodney Dangerfield. And yeah, that was Rodney. And in fact, there's Rodney mentions Pips in a couple of interviews that he's done, and What's My Line, but a lot of celebrities started at Pips. You know, guys like Billy Crystal. Everybody worked Pips. Seinfeld worked Pips. Dice. Everybody worked Pips. You know, Adam Sandler first time on stage was at Pips. You know, so it's a legendary club.
Yeah, many people I've
learned. I
learned.
get a call from Mike, and I used to work Pips back in the '80s with Mulrooney and Rich Jenny and Andrew Clay and guys like that, and Adam Sandler, and I wasn't working there anymore. I was working cruise ships, and I get a call from Mike, and he says, "Max, can you work tonight?" And I said, "Oh man, I just got off a ship. I really don't want to drive to Brooklyn." He goes, "Oh, that's too bad. I need somebody to open for Otto and George." No, I normally don't open, but I said, "Otto and George, yes, I'll do it," because I hadn't seen Otto in a while. And to work with Otto and George, I mean, the guy to watch Otto and George is, you've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, if people out there are watching this, Google Otto and George and watch some of his clips. You'll be shocked.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check it out. Especially, he sounds like he was autistic, and the doll sounds like it had Tourette's. It sounds.
Yeah. Anyway, I get to the club at Pips, and I'm standing in front of the club with the bartender was Ray Garvey at the time, and the owner and the other act and a couple of other people. Bartender, we're all standing in front of the club. Now there was a Guido. You know what a Guido is, right? Guido guy.
Italian.
Yeah, pacing back and forth from Pips to Joe's Clam Bar, talking to himself like he's fucking deranged. But it's Brooklyn, so you really don't pay much attention. You know, people like that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So he's pacing back and forth. All of a sudden, a taxi pulls up. Luckily, the guy was by Joe's Clam Bar. Otto gets out of the taxi, and he's walking towards us in front of the club. This guy sees him, and he starts running towards this guy, towards Otto, and Otto kind of like nudges way closer to us, and the guy says to Otto, he goes, "You motherfucker!" And Otto goes, "What are you talking about? What did I do? What did I do?" He goes, "What do you mean? Last night I was here with my friends and you were making fun of my mother on stage, you fucking piece of shit ass fucking." And Otto's like, I don't remember doing that. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't remember?" The guy goes, "You fucking making fun of my mother." He goes, "Well, I make fun of a lot of people and I'm really sorry." He goes, "Fuck you. Fuck you. If it wasn't for your friend standing there, I came here to fucking kick your ass. I'd rip your fucking head off and shit down your fucking throat." And Otto goes, "I'm really sorry." He goes, "Fuck you, you piece of shit." And he turns away. And Otto actually said, "Well, did you like the rest of my show?"
It's so sad.
Like the rest of my show. It was like, that just shows how, comedians are so insecure.
Yes, we want you to like us.
Well, did you like the rest of my show? The guy turned around, his jaw dropped. He didn't know what the fuck to say. He just walked away, but he didn't know what to say. But comedians are like, when we walk off stage, you could have 100 people walk up and say, "We thought you were the funniest thing. You were the best. You were so funny. Here, fuck my daughter. I want her to have your baby." Yeah. You were the fun. And then one person will say, "You're okay." Yeah. That's who you concentrate on.
Yeah, nothing worse than being that.
What do you mean I was okay? What did I do? What didn't you like?
The worst thing I ever heard, well, not worst thing, but the thing I hate when I hear is, "Keep working at it, dude. You get there."
Yeah. Yeah, you should stick with it.
Yeah,
or you're standing next to two other comics. "You were great. You were great. You were good too."
Yeah. Then sometimes people they feel bad. They're like, "Oh my God, I loved you. And they don't see you standing there trying to sell your merch. You're like, "Oh yeah, you were good too." Yeah.
Buy my CD.
No, I don't want a picture with you. I don't need a picture with you. But thanks. Keep it up. Keep working at it. But dude, that's an awesome story, dude. You have social media? I want anybody to follow you? Do you?
Yeah, well, I'm on Facebook and I've got a website, but Dougie, right now the business is literally, I don't really do any of the, I turn down a lot of Zoom. I like you because you're an old friend, but I've done a few Zoom shows, and I want live comedy, and everybody's doing podcasts now, but I want live comedy to come back.
Yeah, I think it will. Listen, we're coming around the corner.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right. We're making the turn.
We're making a turn.
We're making the turn.
I'm not going to get politics. No politics for me.
Yeah, well, listen, there'll be some more treatment and more antidotes, but this is something that's gonna, like people said, this is gonna be something that's gonna just keep lingering every once in a while, like a bad, like
Something we're just gonna have to live with.
Hey, how dare you say that?
We're going to have a vaccine and we're all going to be cured.
Yeah,
that's right.
And then every time we use our iPhone, we're going to send money to Jeff Bezos and Apple. Anyway, guys, this has been fun. I want to thank you, Max, for joining us today, and great stories, buddy. And you take care.
I hope don't badmouth me later, all right?
Hell no, my friend. We'll never do that.
Nothing bad.
Jennifer,
Nothing but good.
By the way, Jennifer, my third ex-wife was Jennifer.
She sounds lovely.
Yeah, she was from the South. She was from Alabama.
A Jennifer from Alabama.
Yeah.
Seems odd.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would be a deal breaker for me, that strong accent sometimes.
We do have a son, and our son is a doctor. He's going to be a doctor in May. He's 8 years of medical school. He's very smart.
Oh,
that is something to be very proud of.
Yeah.
What kind of doctor does he know? Does he know his specialty?
He wants to be. He specializes. He's going to specialize in anesthesiology. He decided to.
Yes.
He wants to make money and not deal with, people.
That's great.
Got a very high level of what's they call it, Jen, the insurance
liability,
malpractice insurance.
Yeah, the liability's high, but the pay is higher.
Yeah.
So
and you don't do much. Just put the needle in.
Yeah, you're the good guy.
That's right.
Give us the good stuff.
It was radiology. I'm not sure. He was flipping one of the, I may be radiology. It could be anything. I think it was radiology. I'm sorry, because he was going to be an anesthesiologist. Then he decided to be a radiologist.
Which is that's even better. You literally don't deal with anybody. You just read the slides.
That's what he wants to.
You just read the slides. Yep, broken.
Yeah. Sorry, I messed up.
Being in the people business is great, but you got to deal with people.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks again for joining us. Jen, thank you for joining us here as our co-host today.
Thanks for having me, Dougie.
And we'd love to have her back. Max, you take care, my friend. Stay well, and I look forward to the next time we get to be within each other's presence.
Let's do a show together.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Real life.
I will bring you down. We're going to be doing weekend shows in Key West and Isle Morada the first weekend.
I love Key West. I used to go there all the time.
Yeah, we're going to start. Hopefully, we're going to start it in December, January. See how it goes down here.
Thank you.
Oh my God, please! I want to work that room.
You will, guys. Thanks for joining us. God bless. Stay well, and we'll see everybody here next week at the same time. Take care.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dougie. Bye.
Wake up!